The Financial Planner, presented by the Bombay Stock Exchange, IPF.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Financial Planner. Well, we've been talking about mutual funds, what kind of mutual funds should you be are there, what kind of funds you should be investing, what you should be taking care of when you're investing in mutual fund. And the important part that touches everybody's mind, or is something that is there in everybody's mind, is about the charges. And that is something that we'll be touching upon in this particular episode, given that mutual funds loads have gone through sort of lot of regulatory changes. And joining me today is Sumit Vaid, who's a well-known financial planner and a well-known and a good friend of Financial Planner, the show as well. Thank you, Sumit, for joining us. Pleasure. Once again. Well, you know, as far as load is concerned, which is equal to charges as far as mutual funds are concerned, right?
In a way, yes. So in a way, yes, and it's good that you're taking up this topic, because there's a lot of confusion which many of our viewers and many of our investor friends have with respect to what are the various charges in the mutual fund and how loads are differentiated from charges. So let's go to the basics, okay? Mutual fund has something known as fund running expenses, known as FRE, okay? These are part and parcel of net asset value. So the net asset value which you see on a daily basis coming declared to you through newspapers, whether it's an equity fund, whether it's an income fund or a liquid fund or any other category of fund, the net asset value is after the fund running expenses which has been done. Fund running expenses are basically taken for two broad things. One is fund management charges. That's what the fund management company or the asset management company get to earn for rendering the services
and that's helping you pick up those particular stocks, companies, and the managing your fund.
True. Yes. That's fund manager's income, okay?
Yes.
Then there are charges known as administrative and other expenses, which is basically helping these mutual fund houses to run the schemes in an efficient manner. You know, all those communications which are being done to you, all other regulatory costs, all other costs to do with audit, compliance, etc., gets bundled into it. Now these fund running expenses, based on whether you're on debt mutual fund or an equity mutual fund, keeps coming down as the size of the funds keep going up. At a broad level, you should say the average of most of the fund houses based on the sizes between 500 crore plus is between 1.7-1.75% for an equity fund. You know, that's a decent enough fund running expenses. Now fund running expenses aside, there was an era some years ago in mutual fund where there was this animal known as entry load. Okay, an entry load was nothing but a upfront load or a charge being deducted out of your money. So let's say Sumit is investing 10,000 rupees in an equity fund. The first thing which mutual fund will do is take 2.5% or 2% of entry load out of my money, and rest of the money is used to get invested. This 2.5% used to have has to be nothing but as a advisor charges, or an advisor commission, or a distributor commission, and that used to be reallocated back towards the distributor as their commission. Now that has stopped. So there is no upfront entry load on the equity fund as of now in India. So you only have fund running expenses, which also goes down as the fund sizes goes up. Well, I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, well, that's correct. And for the interest of the viewers, I'd like to say, there have been always, when it came about that the market regulator has said no entry load, what it really means is that the entry load which was going, as Sumit said, from your funds is something that is not clubbed in your money that you'll be investing, or is not put in together as part of the investment product. But however, when you're speaking with your investor or the distributor or who's advising you, you decide with your advisor how much you would be willing to pay him for his services. Is that correct? Right?
True.
That's the right way of understanding it.
That's right.
Okay.
So there is a element of financial advice which you are getting, and one needs to understand basics about it, that for any financial advice, it's ideally good to pay for that advice. And how much do you need to pay for that advice should be a relationship between you and your financial advisor. We as a financial planner will always articulate, just the way you go to your doctor, you don't get free service or free advice. Similarly to your financial advisor or financial planner, there cannot be a free advice or a service, because if somebody is offering you a free advice, that means he's making money, more than that he should make out of commission. Not a right approach. Financial advice should have a fee component which should be decided between the customer, that's you, and your financial advisor, based on what value you are getting.
Correct. What about the fact, one is about entry load, which we have addressed, I think, and clarified to our viewers. The other part is that there are load or no load funds.
Sure.
What does that mean?
Okay, now technically, in a very simple term, what loaded fund means is that funds where there is an entry load or fund where there are exit loads, because there are some exit loads which are still applicable. Even in equity funds there are exit loads which are applicable. So technically, because they have a load at the exit, because entry loads are banned now and not allowed, it's a loaded fund, and those funds which doesn't have any entry or exit loads are no load funds. At a very basic level, that's the way it is. But now try to understand exit loads in detail. Most of your investments, and even at a base level, there is a difference between savings and investment. Saving is income minus expenses. Investment is when you save for a defined goal, defined time period, defined return and defined risk. When you do that, investment needs to have a tenure to it. That tenure cannot be very short term. So many of these funds, in order to encourage investors to stay invested for long term so that they can achieve the overall objective or the goal with which what they are investing, they have exit loads in places. Many equity funds have this exit load before 1 year, because equities in short run can become very volatile. So they don't want to encourage this investor behavior of too quick redemption, churning from here and going there. That's not a right way. You're not trading in a mutual fund. You invest for a long term in mutual fund. Hence equity funds have the exit load in play. So exit loaded fund means they are loaded, you know.
Okay. Now, when we are talking about loads again, just a clarification for our viewers, because that's something that is very important as a part of financial planner. And the question that I have is that somebody who is having a systematic investment plan or an SIP, before the regulation that came in of the entry load or no entry load, is it still applicable? Or is it absolutely that post SEBI's declaration that there will be no entry load bundled in the product, that the entry load is completely out of the system?
Very good question, really, you have asked. So a lot of people have this very good discipline of doing long-term investment through a systematic investment plan route, and they get into 5-6 year systematic investment plans. So there might be some viewers who are watching us who started their systematic investment plans in various equity-oriented mutual funds, let's say 4 years ago, and they still continue to do that. To those people, what they should do is stop those SIPs and start afresh, because those SIPs will still attract the load because they were in the earlier environment. It's very difficult for a mutual fund to distinguish, when did you came in, when the load went out and stuff like this. After the new regulation which came from regulator, there's no load, but those people who started SIPs before that regulation and continue those SIPs will continue to pay the load. So best thing is sit with your advisor, articulate what fee you should pay to him, analyze your portfolio and make sure you're not getting into any SIPs where entry loads are still applicable.
Okay, another question, and again for clarification. Now, when we started the show, you had started explaining that loads can be of different category. Entry load we've talked about, which is a commission related charge. Then there is fund management charges and your administration charges, which are still applicable.
True.
And when we are talking about that, so another thing that we also mentioned during the show was that, say suppose I am investing 10,000 rupees in a mutual fund,
yes,
I can pay separately whatever the money is with my financial advisor based on the services that that is decided.
True.
But the 10,000 rupees that is invested and put into units, the fund management charges and administration charges goes from the units, or the money is deducted and then the units are allotted. If you could clarify that.
Sure. So as I said, as per the new regulations which were announced by the regulator 2 years ago, there is no entry load in an equity oriented fund. Whatever you invest, whole of that amount gets invested. That is, if you are giving 10,000 rupees investment in a equity mutual fund, whole of it gets invested. These mutual funds on a daily basis declare what is known as net asset value, which is what is the value of each unit which you own in that particular mutual fund. While calculating net asset value, it's the overall market value of the securities which they have bought minus the charges, which are the fund running expenses, FRE. They are deducted out of it on a daily basis and net asset value is declared. So technically there is no upfront charge, everything is built into the NAV and nothing more is being charged other than what is there in NAV to you. So your 10,000 is fully invested, net asset value reflects the value of as of that day, including whatever charges are there for running the scheme. There is nothing beyond that.
Alright, well on that note, Sumit, we'll take a short break because we've clarified as far as the load is concerned, and I hope the viewers have understood that when you're looking at your mutual fund and when you're giving the commission to your broker, it's a separate thing than what you'd be investing. That's something that the regulator has brought in a change, and I thought it's very important to clarify that. Well, we'll take a short break, but we'll be back and addressing your queries with Sumit, and Sumit will be giving you the entire financial plan. We'll be back in just a